After a roaring season of ups and downs, we watched our dreams crushed right before us. Everything we've ever hoped for is a lie. Success is unattainable, and nothing in our lives will ever be the same. The Packers lost yesterday, and it's going to be the most depressing episode of this shitty podcast that you listen to every once in a while. My name is Drew. He's the co-host, Rob.
You're about to hear the greatest show of your life.
Dude.
Dudes with brews on a porch with Rob and Drew.
All right, Rob. Say something again. Yeah, just keep talking.
Oh, Jesus, what to say? My mother told me today.
You're good now. Sorry.
Okay.
What were you saying?
Are we cutting all that out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I was just saying, we have the rare opportunity, like my broadcast cut out of the Packer game right at the end of the game, and maybe we can do a breakdown where Jordan Love, he threads 3 defenders. Reed catches the pass. Quick timeout.
Yeah.
Throw to the sidelines. Dobbs catches it, toes down, dragging, falls out of bounds. We got 13 seconds left on the clock, well within field goal range. It would be a smart play for us to do the field. But no, we run a trick reverse throwback up over the middle to a wide open Melton. Touchdown. Packers win. 49ers defeated. That's what happened, right?
No, not at all.
Oh,
Would have been nice though, but it is what it is. Everyone's like,
it must have just been my dream. Sorry.
Everyone's just you can't be upset. Everyone dismissed them from the beginning of the year. Yeah, of course.
We're allowed to be upset. We're allowed to be upset.
Right.
That the 49ers keep beating us. Now, am I upset? Not really. I mean, I'm disheartened. But it's like I have new faith in our new team. I'm happy with that game. I mean, Rodgers got blown out in Lambeau by the 49ers. We competed with Love in our in this new team that we've assembled in San Francisco. While everybody said that it was going to be a blowout, our defense stepped up. Our offense was okay. We made one bad error at the end of the game. Otherwise, that game was ours for the taking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let myself feel bad about it. I'm happy about the journey. But yeah, I do not like being told I'm not allowed to be mad because the Packers always. It's like, no, the Packers always get to right here.
Right.
And I hang out with Lions fans, and they're like, 30. I don't care about your 30 years, Detroit. Get better then.
Yeah.
If you keep on this track, then you'll be at the point too where you find yourself a rival who keeps taking you out of the playoffs, and then you'll be complaining the same way us Packer fans do.
Well, the Detroit Lions move on to the NFC Championship and whatever. But one thing I haven't lost faith in is, Rob, you managed to find a beer from the great state of Wisconsin.
I wanted to, for the Packer game, I went straight back to, I got a beer brat with sauerkraut.
Dang.
And a stout and tater tots. And I wanted to keep that tradition alive and get back to my roots.
You are drinking Untitled Arts chocolate graham cracker pastry stout, which I'm pretty surprised you were able to get Untitled Art all the way in California. I didn't realize they shipped or distributed that far out. So give us
from Wanakee.
Yeah, Wanakee, which is kind of by Madison.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, this beer smells delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it really has the that chocolate pastry. I mean, the chocolate graham smell
Pastry stout with
is
chocolate
very
malt,
thick.
natural flavors, 11% ABV, zero in the IBUs. Tasty. Looks good.
That's a good beer.
Good.
It's very good. Sweet up front. I mean, you get the stout taste on the back end, but um, a lot of times when you get these chocolate, these chocolate stouts, sometimes uh, it's not as prevalent as you'd like it to be. Um, and this one, it's perfect. This is a really good dessert beer. It's. I mean, I can taste. I don't know what the pastry where the pastry comes in, but there is like a. I guess you can kind of taste that. It's almost like a sugary sweetness on the back end that hangs around like after you eat a glazed donut, maybe.
Yeah, and usually they actually brew it with like some sort of like pastry stuff. But I ate some enchilada esque food today, and my stomach hurts, and I don't really want to add a beer to the mix and
So
be
you're going sin cerveza?
san cerveza. Yeah,
Sin.
scene. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Without, you're right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know last time we spoke, I was talking about dry January. That didn't happen. Uh, but yeah, I made it. I made it a solid, I think, 11 days without it, and then it's not like that. I have it every single day, but I've had like these last Packer games. I've had them, so I tried. But yeah, today's not a beer day for me. My tummy hurts a little bit. Um, I know previously when we talked a while ago, we're just like we need to do a strange brew. And one thing so this can be like a half normal, half strange type of thing, you know?
We can do that, but I have somebody that wants to come in and do a strange brew with us next week.
Okay, well we can do the double dose, man. That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Well, he wants. I asked him what his favorite paranormal topic was, and it's one that we delved into some years ago, and he's got experience with. So I said, well,
Hmm.
hey, bring your experiences. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about your favorite paranormal thing. I'm not gonna give it away. Just a little. Um, we're just gonna have I won't spoil it.
Awesome.
Listen next week too.
Hell yeah. You got any normal things you want to talk about? Any updates on Rob? Not wearing a hat today, so that's
Rob's not wearing a hat. I'm not smoking cigarettes for the last 2 weeks.
yeah. Last time we we
I'm
we had a show, you said in the last 3 days I've smoked two, both of them today or whatever it was, something like that. And now
Yes.
2 weeks without cigarettes because you were sick last week.
Yeah, I did get sick, but that I was already, I quit smoking cigarettes and then get sick for the first time in um 2 years. So take that how you want.
Yeah.
But it didn't knock me back onto the lighter train or whatever you want to call it. Um, the lighter train. Let's call it smoking the lighter train.
Yeah.
I like it.
So you haven't been
Um,
smoking? How you feel?
feel good. I don't feel that much different, but I do like I have very like my anxieties have gone way down because I don't worry about how I smell. I don't worry about what I'm doing to my throat and my mouth, and I don't think about cancer as much, and
That's good.
um, yeah, that's good. So it's also I'm biking to work now, so trying to get a little bit, you know, get some cardio in the mornings and after work, and
Some exercise. I was so when you told me that you were biking to work, um, when's the last time you drove a car?
um, it's been almost 2 years now, at least.
Do you think you forgot how to do it?
I'll tell you what, I've had the options, and it worries me now. I think if you give me the opportunity to drive in my old the old streets,
Yeah.
the mean streets of where we grew up,
Yep.
I think I'd be okay. I think I could handle that.
Okay.
Um, but after a 2 year drought of driving, I don't know if I want to jump in a car out here in LA and because my boss was like, "Oh, you can drive my truck. Just take my truck here." And I was like, "I do not want to take a big truck Anyway, I want a smart car. I want something so small that it's like a go-kart.
You want it to be a
Um,
guarantee of death if you get in an accident. So small,
yes.
right? That's why you're on a bike now.
Yeah, now the biking and I really, weaving through traffic is just it's a rush.
Yeah, I bet. I bet it is. Well, good. I was just interested. I was like, when was the last time he drove? And
I
I
think about that actually quite a bit, where it's like it's just weird that yeah, 2 years.
I couldn't
I'm trying to
imagine
think if
life
I'm
without it.
trying to think if I drove when I went back to Wisconsin at all.
I don't think he did.
I don't remember. I didn't drive to your house for the podcast. You came and got me.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting. I for like just out of curiosity, I'd like to see you behind the wheel for the first time in a handful of years or like 2 years. But I also don't want to be in the vehicle with you. I will.
Well, you can let me use your car when I come back for Trevor's wedding,
Okay. I
and I'll
will.
drive Jonah to the ice cream store.
Yeah. Great idea. Um, Once so with the Strange Brew stuff, a topic that's been I've seen a lot of articles on, and I've seen some interviews. This Gypsy Rose individual, and I don't want to like dive into Gypsy Rose, but it's interesting because the one when we were talking about, um, a couple of my family members passing away, you asked me if I had that Munchausen by Proxy, and I was like, I didn't even know what that was, and then a week or so later, I hear this Gypsy Rose person who got released from prison because of that, because her mom had it, and essentially, Gypsy Rose, I think her mom's dead. They planned and plotted, maybe have executed the murder of her mom, and she just got out of jail. She's doing all this. There's a documentary out, a docu series. There's articles coming out about all like the crazy shit that her mom did, and I was just wondering, like, what other cases are there? Because I've never heard of it. I've never heard of a situation of individuals dealing with it, and then so I kind of wanted to dive into a couple of cases. There really aren't like a ton, but there are some. So Munchausen, I don't know if I'm even saying it right, syndrome by proxy, mental illness is what it is, in a form of child abuse where the caretaker, and interestingly enough, on medlineplus.gov, it says most often a mother either make up fake
I think
symptoms.
we're gonna drop connection.
Oh, either make up fake symptoms or cause real symptoms to make it look like a child is sick. Um, they're not sure what it is. They're not sure what causes the syndrome. Sometimes the person was abused as a child or has it. So they like to create the fake illnesses, get the attention about it. So I wanted to see like what cases exist as this. Most famously Gypsy Rose currently, but so I guess what's your knowledge on this stuff?
I mean, is can you hear a difference?
Oh yeah.
It's a big difference.
Oh yeah.
Is it bad?
It's not the greatest, but it's okay.
Is it? It is this mic that I'm going through.
Yeah. Seems like it. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that, people. I had to switch over to my phone because my computer sucks.
That's okay.
But I made the switch before the connection was lost. So, I don't know too many actual cases of this. I mean, this comes from watching things like Scrubs and House and shows that use rare diseases as story movement devices.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's like like it's I don't think I think it's a different disorder, like when you go to like that, like Go Ask Alice or whatever that. Did you ever read that book?
Mm-mm.
It's like these people that they torment their children, but they don't get sympathy from it. They're just abusers, I guess. But there's some power play. I mean, these are people that do similar things, locking their kids in cabinets, feeding them kitty litter. Go Ask Alice is a book that will make you cry over and over again. It's terrible, and it's a true story. But But it's like that to me, it falls on the same lines because it's people that take out their own whatever on a loved person, a loved one, and a Munchausen by proxy is just people that they want the sympathy, so they're not actually. I don't even know if they're harming these people. They are, I think.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know.
they are.
Basically, short answer is I don't know much.
Well,
Drew.
so some cases here. Kathy Bush is an individual, and this happened over 20 years in Florida. She was taken from her family, and then so her believed mom or her believed mother. So Jennifer Bush was the kid. Kathy Bush is the mom, and she was making her intentionally sick as a result of this. This is back in 1995. They would give her extra doses of medicine in order to like intentionally infect her, so she could like be taken to the emergency room and treated. She spent by the time this kid Jennifer was 8 years old, she spent over 640 days in the hospital, had 40 medical procedures, and 1,819 non-surgical treatments, which is just nuts. She only got 5 years in prison, which is kind of wild. The kid Jennifer maintains that she was never abused, so that's interesting. And I think the same thing with like this Gypsy Rose. She really like says like, my mom wasn't a bad person or this and that, and she kind of like, I don't know if it's a forgiving mindset or a dismissive mindset, or is it just I grew up and this is all I knew.
Well, and I apologize. I missed like 30 seconds or 10 seconds of what you said because I swapped back to my computer. I think that up until maybe that Gypsy Rose case, I mean, how do you convict? Do you convict? Like when it comes down to the idea of a mental instability or something like that, where it's like somebody, if you kill the person that's been abusing you for 10 years or 15 years straight, do you throw the book at that person, or do you? I mean, these are people that the system failed, especially Munchausen by proxy, because they're taken into a system that is supposed to be able to, like suss out what's that, like that there's something else is going on here, and they don't. So you just stay with the person that's abusing you so that they get what they want. Meanwhile, you are put in a position where with Gypsy Rose, I believe, like she thought she was sick, right? She thought she had these, like she was told her whole life that she was dying, she was this, right?
Yeah, that she was sick. She had all these different surgeries as well that were turns out. But and then again, it's like if you're taking in the case we were just talking about, the kid was over medicated, so that could cause some things, which then create legitimate medical situations. But if you're just taking your kid and like the doctors even just performed like essentially operations on Gypsy Rose that they didn't need to, like they should be held accountable too. They should be like,
well, and that's what I mean. Where it's like, if you were told that your entire life, and then you have doctors backing it up by giving you surgeries,
right?
It's like, do you blame her for when she finds out that hey, she's actually been duped by the people that are supposed to keep her safe and do you blame her for lashing out in the way that she did, or do you say no? There's a hard line in the sand that says you don't do these things, even if everything else fails. You just have to deal with that. To me, I don't know. I never know. I feel like our listeners are probably sick of me laying down a saying line in the sand and then going, I don't know if you can cross it, but it's there. But that's unfortunately what you get when you talk to me.
Old line in the sand, Bobbert.
Yeah, right. That's what they call me. That's what they call me on the beach.
So another example, Lacey Spears, which I guess was a blogger. Remember when blogging was a thing?
This is Brittany and Jamie's like adopted sister, right?
I don't know. I have no idea. But Popular blogger convicted in the death of her son, Garrett. She poisoned him with salt, which is kind of
It's
wild.
a Midwest diet.
Yeah. Um, he had a like a sort of feeding tube, I think it was, and she would put like um he had brain swelling due to induced repeated salt poisoning by his mom, who was convicted of it. So it was like it was like some sort of like had something
See now
already,
what? But
and she put like salt in it. Um, so feeding bag. He had a feeding bag, which was
the
alleged.
question becomes is did they somehow find out that the reason she did that was to make him continue to be sick, or was she trying to kill him? I think those are the
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
because
really.
somebody with Munchausen by proxy would be doing that to try and keep their son or whoever ill, so that they can keep on getting sympathy
Well,
for that's
yeah,
their illness, is that they're addicted to people feeling bad for them and people treating them with some sort of some in some way based on the fact that somebody in their family is ill.
I think she would talk about it on the, like blog about it. I think that's what.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that makes sense. That's like God. People are there's some really terrible people in this world, and it's like that's something that's like extremely hard to hear. The idea that somebody would poison their son so that they could get more clicks on their blog page.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do you step close like slowly work your way up to the point where you kill somebody on I'm assuming accident, and and what happens in the aftermath of that? Like to me, I go, well, what is this person? Now I'm interested to know after once you've gone to jail, been convicted, whatever. Like take the justice system out of it. You've now killed your son in the
Mm-hmm.
pursuit of something that's very selfish, if that was the reason that she was doing it. Does that wake you up? Does that fix you if you have Munchausen by proxy, which is a documented disease? Does it fix you when you go too far and kill somebody you love and you have to wake up the next day and go, "Fuck, I really messed up and I don't know how to live with myself anymore." What happens next?
Right.
That's what's interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't really know. This is another similar case. Lisa Hayden Johnson uh, really made it public about her son's medical situations and would claim that he suffered from illnesses like diabetes, food allergies, CP, cystic fibrosis, and an intolerance to sun. And he had over 325 medical procedures, some of them allegedly done in home, and then she would like publicize the alleged illnesses in exchange for to get access to high profile events. She attended the X Factor tapings and met like former Prime Minister Tony Blair. She's in jail right now, but yeah, that's messed up,
I
man.
know it. Yeah. I know that I had listened to there's a podcast called Swindled, and I was listening there was definitely somebody who was I think what happened is they were misdiagnosed with a cancer of sorts, set up a charity, and was getting donations and all these things, and it wasn't like it was a foundation. Um, it was actually a big case, but like then she didn't have cancer, but she kept on going and getting chemo. She kept on going and doing these things like because it was bolstering her in the public view and in this philanthropy circles that she had kind of come to uh, uh, be a big part of. And that was kind of a high profile case, but I can't remember the name. I'm so terrible with names and but these people are out there, and there's always a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a Munchausen case, because there's Munchausen's and then there's Munchausen's by proxy. Munchausen's, at least they have the decency to hurt themselves as opposed to hurting the people that they are supposed to be taken care of.
Yeah.
It's like if you have Munchausen's and you're like taking a bunch of medications for the side effects and or lying to people about what about ailments that you have or things like that. Okay, well, that's still not good. it's still a mental breakdown in terms of it's a sociological behavior that psychopathy of not feeling bad about lying to somebody's face because you want to be made to feel better in the moment. And in the long run, you don't even think about the fact that what if they find out? Munchausen's by proxy is much worse because you actually have to inflict damage on somebody that you're supposed to be caring for, so that you get cared for by society, or the people around you.
Yeah.
And whether or not you want to call that a mental illness or a sociopath, I don't. To me, it's a little bit of both.
Line in the sand.
It's a line in the sand, and I don't know which line, I don't know which side it's on.
But yeah, there's a few of these documented cases. I just thought it was an interesting situation. I don't think
I can't believe you made it. I can't believe you made it this long without picking up on. You watch Scrubs, right? You know, like
I watched it, but I don't remember. I don't remember it.
well, maybe that's like you know what when you watch these episodes, like Twilight Zone is one of my favorite things to talk to people about because it's like if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone, everybody's got their episodes. Same thing with X-Files, like the episodes that stick out to them, and it's like a lot of times you'll go like, oh, this is the episodes that stick out to me, and that another person will go, I have no idea what episodes you're talking about. I have to go back and find them.
Mm-hmm.
These are the episodes that stuck out to me, and I'll go like, I have no recollection. But with like Scrubs and House, like those Munchausens and Munchausen's by Proxy episodes, they stuck out to me because it was such an interesting case study, and I knew that they were actually working off of real cases. That it was like it was enough for me to go like, this is something to kind of file away in the old mental cabinet.
I know I haven't watched Scrubs in a very, very long time, and I don't remember. I remember some of the episodes, but probably if I watch it again, it'd be all pretty. It would come back to me as I'm watching them.
I think as soon as it hits, you'll know what the I mean. For me, the episodes that I remember are the ones that make you tear up a little bit, like the Brendan Fraser ones. And that episode always got me when you find out, oh, JD's seen or
Dr.
Cox. Seen,
who are you talking to? Where do you think we are?
Yeah. That was a little rough on me. I'll tell you what.
There's that musical episode.
Well, that one, that one I remember because I was like, hey, come on, I don't know, come on.
Right.
Let's.
I used to just remember watching that show and being like, oh, Elliot Reed, whoo-wee.
What did you do with that character? Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, season 1, season 3, how did you make that happen?
Made a lot of things happen.
Oh wait, are you saying Sarah Chalke is a fan?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was saying they destroyed a character over the course of 2 seasons and turned it into a complete shit show. In my opinion, one man's opinion.
Yeah.
You turned a strong female character and go watch it. Don't go watch it. I was watching Family Guy or American Dad, I forget which, just randomly. I don't watch those a lot, but I threw on an episode, and there was a joke where they were like, oh, I was watching Scrubs the other day. Can you tell me which one is the funny one? And it made me laugh so hard because I was such a big Scrubs fan back in the day, and it's like when I was like in high school and it was coming out new, and I was buying all the seasons on DVD, and now I go back and it's like I don't think it holds up. I mean, there's some great stuff in there, especially directorially. They did a lot of great one-er shots. They did a lot of interesting stuff with the space that they had. But for some reason, maybe I overwatched it back then, but it's just I can't really watch it anymore.
Yeah, I remember. I think you might have been the person that really got me into Scrubs or I had bought the first season, the second season, or something like that, and then you were like, "Yeah, I buy one season, and my friend buys another season, and then we switch."
Yep.
And then you let me borrow a couple of them, and then eventually I bought them all because I didn't have cable.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I used to watch those with the neighbor, Amanda something.
Okay.
I forget. She married what was his last name?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I got to interview the guy that plays Dr. Cox one time.
Now that John C. McGinley?
Yeah.
Johnny C?
Yeah. He was really
nice.
You
interviewed Johnny C.
I did. When I was doing
I mean, that guy's a powerhouse, man.
the morning
That's pretty
show.
impressive.
Yeah, he was promoting. It was called like Stand versus the Evil or some shit like that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Okay, he was in that. I never, I
and he
didn't,
was
I
like
didn't
the
watch
main
it,
dude.
but
He was Stan, but he was a really nice
I
guy.
just remember the name of it. Are you sure it was called Stan versus the? Yeah, I feel like I remember seeing that
It was
that
kind of
name
like I
somewhere.
thought it was like similar to like Ash versus Evil Dead. I wasn't really sure though, but no, he was super nice, good dude, good dude.
I mean, he was in Seven.
He's in
He was
Seven.
in Office
I
Space.
know Office Space. Yeah, I didn't know he was in Seven.
And in Seven, he's the guy that leads the SWAT team.
Oh, okay.
When they go into the guy that's got the sloth, he's the one that he's got all the shit to say, and then he goes in there and he finds the guy that's dead, and then the guy's alive, and he freaks out. He's
I've seen
also in the helicopter
I've seen
right
that
before. What's in the box? What's in the
I've seen
box?
that movie one time, and I couldn't tell you anything about it except for that last line. What's in the box? It's his wife's head.
Yeah, that wasn't the last line, but
Yep.
that's my go to sleep movie, man. I'll put that movie on and fall asleep.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. That movie put me out, man.
That says a lot about you.
Was it good though? It's a good.
I don't
It
think
says
so.
good things.
I don't think so.
No, I am a sociopath, but I won't cross that line. I just draw it in the sand. You guys make up your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, come on. Anything with Morgan Freeman's voice with rain, how does that not put you to sleep? And it's a dark movie, so you don't even have to turn down the brightness on your TV.
I guess.
Yeah, okay, they're talking about the deadly sins, and there's a lot of murder and torture and that kind of stuff. But beyond that, if you take, it's a dark movie with a great one of the greatest voices of our times, mixed with a lot of rain. To me, those three things go together, and that's Snoozeville.
Maybe. Maybe. They should make a movie about the Munchausen by Proxy. Or they just have enough medical
Munchausen?
show. I've never seen House, so they have an episode of that.
I think they do a couple on it. It's
Don't we have
and
enough medical shows? Do we really need all of
yeah.
them?
Well, no, they don't because like here's the weird thing or the interesting thing is if you go and watch Scrubs and House side by side, which I was doing back when I was younger and have
Side
done
by side. They're very
yeah,
different.
you remember when I had three TVs, right? One was for NASCAR on Sundays, the other two was Scrubs and House side by side. Um,
Really?
and that was how I spent. Yeah, no, Jesus, no.
Oh.
That's, if I was that big of a,
I mean, to be honest,
let's say
that seems like a thing that you might have done. If we're really
I'm realizing now that yeah, probably could have gotten away with that lie, that says more about me than the fact that I fall asleep to seven.
it's
but,
not the most unbelievable thing you've ever said.
It's very true, very true. Let's say back to back. When you watch them back to back
Sure.
as they're coming out or whatever, I was noticing it's like they do all the same episodes, all the same cases. I mean, there's a disorder. One of the ones that was really stuck out to me was God, I used to know the name of the syndrome because of this, but it's something that like the test that they do for it is they put your urine under UV light, and if it turns purple, you have this disease. Uh, and now both Scrubs and House did an episode on this, and of course in House, which is a drama, his brilliant mind gets it wrong three times and then figures it out because that was the formula. Um, or no, or maybe even that was one of the side cases where they just threw it in, and he was like, test this pee under UV light, and it'll be purple. I'm a genius. That was House's reaction to it.
I'm a
In
genius.
Scrubs, they did a whole thing where it was like, JD loses the pee. He can't find it, and it turns out he left it outside while he was playing basketball or something. Cox can't figure it out. He can't figure out what this guy's got. He's been coming in his whole like for 10 years and with symptoms and Dr. Cox can't figure out what's wrong with him. He gives a urine sample to JD to go take to the lab. JD loses the urine sample. He leaves it outside. It turns purple. That's how and then he Googles purple pee, figures out what the disease is. That's the comedic way to do a doctor show about this disease. In a dramatic fashion, you have a brilliant doctor that his team tries all these things, they fail, and then he goes, no, the pee will turn purple, and I'm awesome. The end of episode. But they're the same episode, and it was always interesting to me. I think that was the one where that was the episode. Those were the episodes where I was like, they're doing the same cases, and I started to kind of look at it, and it's like there's all the same cases throughout the 9 seasons of Scrubs and the 9 seasons of House. They do a lot of the same casework and episodes. One's just a drama, and one is a comedy.
Oh. You hear Phil?
And I'm sure ER does the same thing.
Phil's having a bad dream right now. He's grumbling. He's sleeping though.
Yeah. That rabbit's hard to catch sometimes, you know.
Yeah. But all right. Do you think? What do you think? What?
Oh, do I think what? Go.
What's more of a thankless job? Being a referee in professional sports, or a medical doctor, or what do you think you can get? Doctor. What do you think you can get away? What do you think you can get away with more? Being a doctor, like a surgeon, like big time doctor, or a referee? Because I feel like all the refs in the NBA and the NFL, they squeeze by all the time, making these piss poor calls, game altering calls by a lot of things. And then you also have these doctors that can just walk in a room and be like, I don't know, more tests, more pills, more bills. We'll keep on seeing you. I'm great.
Yeah. Well, I think all refs have Munchausen by proxy. I think.
You think?
They inflict damage on one team so that they get attention from the media, and they get positive attention from the fans of the other team.
That would be a good episode of a medical show as a doctor that has it.
Yeah. Well, we've seen I know that there's been like well, I don't know if you would call it by proxy or Munchausen's even, but yeah, I guess that's true. You know, like have a doctor who's like a bad mechanic. You ever have a mechanic that every time you take your car into him to fix something else breaks, and then you got to take it back, and you got to take it back, and you got because
then you stop going to that guy.
What's that?
Well, then you stop going to that person.
Well, you know, but they're cheap and they work on the fly. They come to you. But then you find out later that they're a crackhead and they're breaking shit on your car so that you have to keep on paying them to fix it. And then finally you sell them the car, and then you see their grandpa driving it like 6 years later, and there's nothing wrong with it anymore.
That happened to you?
Yeah. Was that a little too specific? Yeah, that definitely happened to me with my Chevy Celebrity.
Oh.
My first car I ever bought. I kept taking it to this guy, and every time I take it to him, he'd fix what was wrong with it. Something else would go wrong. And I only paid $100 for that car. So I kept on, I was like, you know, it's a $100 car. You're going to have to fix some things. And then eventually I was like, dude, I got a line on it. That's when I got the Ford Thunderbird. I was a cool guy, you know, had to have the.
You've had some good cars.
Yeah. So I sold him that car, and then he fixed the last thing that needed to be fixed on it apparently, and gave it to his grandpa or his dad or something. And I would see him rolling around in it all the time. And I think one time I saw him at a gas station. I was like, you have any issues with this car? And he's like, no, it runs like a dream. It's like, where's this guy at? I won't say his name. It was Jamie. Where's Jamie at? Oh, he's in rehab. Crack. You know, like, I was like, God damn it.
How do you meet these people?
You know, I was in a different circle than you were. I guess so. But yeah, it was but yeah, if you had a doctor that was the same way, where it's like he'll fix your tennis elbow, but you walk out with a shattered kneecap, and like you got to come back a week later or something. It's like, hey, well, sometimes when I work on your elbow, the next day your knee hurts. I'm sorry, I didn't go down there.
That could be good. That'd be a good episode. I'm saying, or a good movie. Let's write it. Let's create it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I mean, if
now is it a comedy or a drama?
See, I think it's got to be a comedy, right?
I think it's got to be more of dramatic. I don't
Yeah, I
know how you
guess.
make that a comedy without being too over the top spoofy, you know. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's
no.
obviously got to be a little bit of a mix. House was a comedy as well at times.
Was it?
I mean, they thought so.
I
I think
only
they
I only
thought
saw
so.
one episode of House, and that's when he wrote "not this leg" on his leg, and I was like, okay. And I was like, why?
Yeah,
Why?
I honestly had thought about tattooing no painkillers on my arms. I think probably because of that.
Yeah,
Because if I ever get smoked by a car or go in I don't want painkillers because I don't want to re-trigger my receptors to stop making those chemicals, and that's where the addiction and dependence comes in.
yeah. When I went in for my vasectomy,
But yeah,
when I went in for my vasectomy, I wrote "not this nut."
did it work out for you?
No, he still did both of them.
Yeah,
He's
you
like, I
still
have
did
to
them
do this.
both.
I have to do this one if you want it to work. I said, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't realize, but
When
yeah,
I get my vasectomy, I'm definitely gonna put not
not
this
this.
nut
You're gonna get
on
one?
my. Why not?
You can just go get one. You don't need permission.
Yeah,
You can just go do it.
I know. Yeah, I'm pushing 40, man. It might just be time.
In the
But I could also just wait out the clock and go like, there's no way there's anything swimming down there
wow,
anymore.
look at Robert De Niro, man. He had a baby, and he's not that long ago. Last year, he had a kid.
Yeah, but that's Robert De Niro. His last name means money. Like, of course he's got.
That's not De Niro. It's DiGiorno.
See, no, that's fake pizza.
Yeah, I guess. Boopity boppity. But yeah, you don't even
No,
need permission from anybody. I didn't have to get permission from Carissa. I didn't know that. I always thought like if you were married, your spouse had to sign off, and they're like, nah, you don't got to do that anymore. It's 2023. Everybody has rights to their body.
well, not legally, but if your wife finds out that you got a vasectomy without telling her, she definitely thinks you're cheating on her.
Probably. I wonder if that's like grounds for like if you can get an annulment because of that. I think an annulment you can only be married for a certain period of time, but you can't. You know, I also learned this. You can't just like go to the courthouse and be like, oh yeah, we changed our mind. You have to have a valid, legitimate reason, such as like I found out I am unable to procreate, so you can get your marriage annulled. Otherwise, you have to go through the divorce process. Fun fact.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
I'm just letting you know in case you ever get
Yeah,
on
no,
on
I
bended
mean,
knee.
that's what people, yeah, that's what people come to Dudes with Brews for, is for every 10 to 25 episodes, we drop a nugget of truth that's worth hearing. You just got to rake through it to find it. That was the one.
Yeah. Apparently, finding oneself isn't enough to be an annulment. You had to go through the divorce process as
No,
well.
you can't go in there and go, I hate my wife.
Right. I realize the person I'm with is packing the wrong things.
Well, yeah, well, yeah, does that a valid excuse if you go in there and you go, she was a spy. She was a spy in the house of straight love.
You never had
like
to you never really had to put the reason on there. There's no line that says like, "Hey, why are you doing this?" It's just a lot of like, "Are you sure?" Um,
that's to get married.
right.
They just say, "Are you
Are
sure?"
you sure? No, on the
Did you
divorce
really?
thing, you don't have to specify what's going on. You just say, yeah, I need to get this paperwork. The paperwork alone is $200. And then you fill it
That's all
out.
they want.
You fill it out, and then they just go. One of the questions you do have to say is like, is this marriage beyond repair? And I'm like, yeah, definitely, sure is.
Do you both have to fill that out separately?
You both have to acknowledge that question, yes, and you have to say like, I am not under any like
Derision or
duress.
whatever.
Yeah, I'm not.
Duress,
People
yeah.
aren't. I'm not being held captive and being forced into this decision. You have to say that on a legal piece of paper in front of a
Which
judge,
is
who then is
which is
gonna
ridic
make you feel
which is
horrible.
ridiculous because it's like if you answered the last question under duress,
Right.
then the question I did not answer this. Like I acknowledge that I'm not under duress when I answer this question. Under duress, you'll probably put, yeah, I'm not under duress. No one's There's no knife at my throat. There was no knife at my throat at the last question, and definitely not at this one either. Don't worry about it. That seems kind of ridiculous to me. That it's like, but like, what are we doing with these contracts and paper? Like,
I don't know.
well, Your Honor, you see right here, she said she wasn't under duress, or he said he wasn't under duress when answering both questions.
What if
So
you're only under duress
I think
answering one question?
Yeah. So the person that was holding the knife to the throat left the room after the first question. They didn't read ahead.
Yeah.
As people who coerce people, they never do. They don't read ahead.
Yeah.
That's why they fail high school.
Probably. And then when you get married, you have to. One of the questions to get your marriage license is, what's the highest level of education your parents achieved? It's like, what the fuck does that? What does that have to do with anything? I'm serious. You really have to. You got to answer that question.
Is this leftover from the old days? Like what?
I don't know. I think we had to say what our highest level of education was as well. Like,
no, see, I thought it doesn't ask you what your highest level of education is, but it asks you what the longest word you can spell is.
That's a good question. I don't even know. Mississippi?
You don't have supercalifragilisticexpialidocious in your back pocket?
I don't know how to spell it.
Elasticity.
I don't even know how to spell that. But yeah, those are.
Well, how great would it be that you answer that question and you misspelled the word?
But isn't that weird? Like, what's your highest level of education? What does it matter? I mean, theoretically, isn't the construct of marriage made up and just really?
It's literally nothing.
It's nothing.
If you burn that contract, it never happened, and it's
right.
The idea of asking what's the level of education means nothing to begin with, because it's like for me, I have to put some college. That's my level of education. Some college.
Right.
I walked out of that school without a degree, knowing more than my fucking professors, I swear to God, because I actually cared about learning, but I didn't care about, I don't know, paying the fucking state for not giving me shit in return, and I was doing all the work, which made me smarter than them too. Like, you know what? Let's call a spade a spade. Like, I got hip to the game too late, but I did get hip to it, where it's like, you're just paying for a degree that means nothing. So I just didn't. So now I have some college under my belt. What is that? That's nothing. And it's, where do you go to college? Where'd you go to high school? If you were homeschooled and you passed all your classes or however that works, but nothing was ever taught to you, you still get to say I have my GED.
Do you think there's like a committee where at the end of the week they just go over the marriage applications for the licenses and they just go, these fucking simpletons?
Well, I like the idea of there's like people that look through it and they go, well,
of course these two got married.
Well, it's like, the husband's got a double master's and the wife's got a high school diploma. I don't know if we should okay this one.
What's the situation where
like what information does that give?
This guy has a PhD in neuroscience and physics, and then he's marrying a high school dropout.
Yeah, she wrote down that her high education was 1 year at Jamba Juice. Should we stop this so that he finds somebody more appropriate and she dies alone? Is that what we want? I don't
Well, and you got to pay like $125 just for that too.
Yeah.
Where are the tax breaks of marriage? I haven't seen them yet. And I've been married twice.
That's because they don't. Well, I don't know. I've never been married, so I don't get the tax implications. You get the breaks for having the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I pay for it, so you're welcome.
I do too.
You don't pay for anything. You're rich. Look at that basketball hoop in your living room.
The basketball hoop that's attached to my son's play slide.
Michael Jordan has one too.
Maybe he might, but yeah. Well,
only difference is the height.
We've dropped a lot of knowledge. How's that stout going down?
Really good.
Yeah.
This is a lot of times with these stouts, especially these like 11, 12 percenters, the alcohol like really kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Not with this. This is just a smooth like this. If you like a sweet like the chocolate stouts, graham cracker is always good. I can't tell you if that's necessarily super prevalent in there, but um, the flavors that are on this can are coming through for the most part. The chocolate, the pastry, the sweetness, the alcohol. You can't. I mean, this is a dangerous stout in my opinion because I could slam another one of these and be quite drunk.
Yeah.
I might be quite drunk right now, Drew. I did have 2 half pints before I started the show.
One would say maybe a full one.
Yeah, I guess if you. I prefer to say 2 halves.
There's just that line in the sand.
It's a line in the sand, but I'm not going to tell you which side to stand on. You
That's
just
right.
you got to figure that out for yourself.
You think cats, they often draw the lines in the sands and then they shit in them.
They do, yeah. And if most cats I know don't bury it because they're assholes.
And that's just a metaphor of life.
Yeah, it's just the way it works.
You know, my grandpa once told me there's a lot of types of people out there, and most of them are assholes. Dudes with brews on a porch.
Yeah, 49ers, all assholes.